Today we're here in beautiful sunny Bakersfield and we're at the Golden Carousel, and I'm standing here with Dale Simpson, who is the owner, him and his wife Norma. Dale, it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now I know that this store in particular has quite a past, and so tell me a little bit about the Golden Carousel and some of the famous faces that this store has seen.
The store was built approximately 1910 or just before 1910. Harry Coffey's clothing store opened here in 1910, and they operated here for about 60 years, around 1970. And one of the famous people that worked here, I understand, was Frank Gifford.
So Frank Gifford was helping put items away before he made it big.
Well, he was in high school, so apparently he was a teenager and playing football at Bakersfield High School.
Well, so it's seen some great years and some famous faces.
Right.
Now, today I know you're going to take us on a tour and we're going to get to see some antiques, but I want to test your antique knowledge, okay? Are you ready?
Right.
Okay. So, what exactly classifies something to be antique?
It would have to be 100 years old to be an antique.
Okay, so it doesn't matter where it came from or who built it, or it's just years.
That's correct.
That's the justification to name it as an antique. Okay. Well, I know you're going to take us on a tour today, and we're going to see some great antiques and hear some great stories. So I'm excited. Let's get going and take a peek at them.
All right.
Well, Dale, now tell me about this chair, because I think we're literally looking at the oldest rocking chair I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's the oldest rocking chair we've ever had, and this was built by the Shakers around 1820.
Wow.
And it's the only shaker piece we've had in the store in 13 years, so it's pretty rare, finally.
Now, this piece was famous. I mean, this ended up on the front page.
That's correct.
Of the Bakersfield Californian a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Now, tell me the story about this, because I think this little chair was almost faded, but you rescued it.
This little chair was on its way to the Goodwill to be donated by my son-in-law.
And you said it had been sitting in his closet. So he said, oh, we'll just swing it by Mom and Dad's.
Yeah, brought it by here, and we told him we wanted to do some research on it. We did, and we was pretty sure what it was, and so we took it out, had him take it out to the professionals, and they assured us it is a true shaker chair, priced between $3,000 and $5,000.
Oh my word! And the Goodwill would have sold it for $250.
I don't know.
So that's pretty amazing that you saved this little chair's life. Well, let's continue on our journey, shall we? And let's take a look at some more pieces that may not be as old as this, but I'm sure have quite a history. Dale and I are standing in front of a music lover's dream. This piano, I know, has quite a bit of a history, and there's been even some famous faces that have sought this piano out. So tell me a little bit about it, Dale.
Well, the piano was built in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1851.
So that makes this piano like 156 years.
That's correct.
Oh my word.
It still plays. It does need some tuning. And the wood, it's built out of rosewood. The keys are ivory. Deadwood Productions really wanted this for an HBO series, but I had sold the piano already, so I was able to sell it to them or even rent it to them because it was sold.
Now, you said these are solid pieces of rosewood,
that's
right?
correct.
So I imagine this piano is a little on the heavy side.
It's very heavy. It took 7 people to bring it in to the store.
Wow, amazing. And it's actually stamped 1851 at the back of the piano.
That's correct.
Wow, this is amazing. And did you say this is one of 8?
This is one of 8.
So this is not only as an antique, but I mean, this is like a limited edition.
How we know that also is one of our customers came in and was shopping, and she's from the East Coast, and she spotted it and she got so excited when she saw this piano because she has one of the other of the 8, and she did research on it also and found out that they only built 8 of these pianos.
What a small world.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited to see the rest of the pieces in your store because every time we see something it gets more exciting, so let's continue on. Okay, now Dale, what's interesting I think about this piece is that a lot of these pieces are what I call classic, meaning that whether you were using this 50 years ago or today, some of these, antique or nearly antique pieces seem to fit right into your everyday lifestyle, into your home.
That's correct. They've reproduced a lot of these. This table, though, is turn of the century, around 1900. And if you'll notice on the feet, the reproductions, you won't see the toenails carved.
So that's something to look for.
Yes.
If you're looking for at a piece like this,
this is the first one we've had like this.
Now let's take a little look back here. tell me a little bit about this piece, because I know that Norma was telling me an interesting story about how that back then they didn't always lock their doors, and so this has got quite a few little hidden keys to it.
You'll find almost every piece, it has a key and a lock on it, so you can lock your treasures up, I guess. This piece dates about 1870, 1880.
Wow.
And it's called a side-by-side secretary.
Okay, now I know you have a surprise in store for me because I love music, so what's inside?
Okay, this is a
oh my
old phonograph from around probably 1920 or possibly earlier.
Okay.
It still works. Plays the old 78 RPM records. And we'll
that's just amazing. So on a Friday night, when we all get together, we're ready to hang out, and the girls have got all their rouge on and their heels and their hair's up in pin curls.
yes.
They get together, and they can't go too far though.
You gotta be
because
here. Someone's got to change the records.
Well, even back then, they knew how to party right.
I guess.
They knew how to have a good time. Well, this is amazing.
And this is your brake. Let me stop it.
Now, how many years old is this?
I would guess it's around 1920.
Okay.
So
it's nearing 100 years,
yes.
close to. I think we've got one more treat in store, so let's continue on.
All right, let's go.
Now, I have to tell you that you had mentioned to me a story about this clock, particularly just about its age. So tell me a little bit about what makes this piece so unique to you.
Well, the clock was built by Jerome Clock Company in New Haven, Connecticut. This clock is a weight-driven clock, possibly dates back to 1850 or earlier. Some of the research I found that they started discontinuing the weight-driven clocks and going to the spring wind-up clocks around 1840, 1845, so it could even be that age. But we know it's before 1855 because they filed bankruptcy in 1855.
Wow. So this clock's over 150 years old now.
That's correct.
That's amazing.
And it keeps perfect time.
Dale, this is truly an amazing piece, and it just seems that all of your pieces here at the Golden Carousel have their own story to tell.
That's true.
And we hear the clocks now.
And you hear the grandfather clock.
This has been wonderful. Thank you for showing me this piece.
You're welcome.
And if anyone would like to stop in and maybe get their feet wet antiquing for themselves, how can they contact you and Norma?
You can call us at 661-326-8252, and we're at 1407 19th Street.
And when are you open?
We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday, 12 to 5.
Okay, perfect.
So I hope they'll come by and see us, and it's our pleasure to have you today.
Okay, so you heard it straight from Dale. Come by and see him at the Golden Carousel. Well, if you take a look around, guess where I'm standing? I'm in downtown Bakersfield at quite a famous landmark. We're here at the Five and Dime Antique Mall in the old Woolworths building, and I'm standing here today with the owner, Linda Sheffield. Linda, it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jillian.
You know, it seems as though this building in particular has been around forever. I mean, I remember when my mom worked here as a teenager. And so tell me a little bit about the history of your story. When did you purchase the Woolworths building, this particular location? And tell me a little bit about the history of the Five and Dime.
Okay. This building was built in 1949, and it was built to replace a smaller Five and Dime store, which was in this same spot. It was built of poured concrete. A lot of things in this building were the first of its kind. It's very well built. And Woolworths operated from 1949 until December of 1993. We came along in August of '94. The building was empty, and we were looking for investment property. Only after we bought the building did we decide what we might do. And I've always loved antiques, so we decided to start an antique mall with very low experience, actually. We're standing in the lunch counter, which operates Tuesday through Saturday. Great hamburgers and a fun place to come. Many people come here because they have memories, if not of this building, of another, because all of the Woolworths were built almost exactly the same throughout the United States and Canada. So even if they didn't grow up in Bakersfield, they have memories of a Woolworths.
Well, Linda, thank you so much. I know that we're going to take a peek around, and we're going to become expert antiquers as quickly as possible. And I'm excited, so I'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Okay, great.
Well, I'm standing here with Evelyn Merriman. Evelyn, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jillian.
Now, you're the Five and Dime Antique Mall store manager, is that correct?
That's correct.
So, I'm sure your hands are always busy doing something,
There's always a lot to do.
but it keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, it does.
Now, right now where we're standing is a perfect example of a trend that we're seeing really come our way again. Tell me a little bit about what the trend is, and then basically how we ourselves can purchase items to create that trend in our own home.
Okay, we're standing in a booth that probably has at least 75% shabby chic.
Now, what is shabby chic?
Shabby chic is giving furniture a second or maybe even a third life.
Okay.
And that's taking furniture which was probably in the original state, a natural wood, and painting it colors to please you.
And would this be a perfect example?
A perfect example is this. This is a vintage table, but it's been painted black, which is the current most popular trend. And then it's been reupholstered with colorful fabric. And this particular trend appeals to the 30-something to 40-something-year-olds who are, furnishing new first homes, new apartments. And nonetheless, it doesn't take away from the fact that it is vintage. For instance, the cabinet behind you probably is an architectural piece. It probably came out of a home because in the early 20s and 30s, the cabinets, like the corner cabinets, were built into the structure of the home.
It really is beautiful. Well, I'm excited to continue on our tour, and I know that you're going to show us more interesting pieces and a little bit about antiques.
I would love to.
Okay. Now, Evelyn, tell me a little bit about what we're seeing right now, because this is just beautiful. So what is this called, and then tell me a little bit about it.
This is called depression glass. This is inexpensive glassware that was made in the late 20s, early 30s. During the Depression years, so that it could be affordable to everyone. And this is a typical display of the green Depression glass.
It's beautiful. I mean, it really is just gorgeous.
And it comes in many colors, like clear, pink, some yellow.
And these were pieces our grandmothers were using.
Yes.
Were using, and
They
our
were
great-grandmothers
using them, and they probably bought them at Five and Dime.
It's so interesting, though, that even though it dates back, 50 plus years ago, these pieces would still be classic today.
They are.
They would be wonderful retro pieces to bring into your home, into your kitchen.
And so practical. You could use them. Every piece of it is very, very practical.
Well, Evelyn, thank you so much. This is just one more, I would say, niche of collecting that anyone could start. Well, Evelyn, I think it's off to the races for me. How do I look?
You look fabulous.
But I think I'm missing one thing.
Okay, you have the hat, the gloves, and I have a handbag for you.
Perfect. It's exactly what I needed.
No money.
Oh, drugs.
But it could be dangerous at the races anyway.
If I were a betting woman, I'd be in trouble, that's for sure. Tell me a little bit about this particular part of the Five and Dime Antique Mall, because with the trend coming back, as you mentioned, with vintage clothing, who is coming in to buy these fabulous hats and these dresses? And tell me, what exactly is the vintage clothing made of? What does it consist of?
The people that are buying them are the young people, and they're loving polyester.
Love that polyester.
Also very popular are, they come in for a prom dress or maybe even a wedding dress, and we love helping them. We also have some vintage clothing from the Flower Children era, the 60s and 70s. That too is polyester.
Now, you mentioned wedding dresses. Do you have something you could show me?
I would like to show you one.
Okay,
that's on
great.
the mannequin.
Oh,
This is
Evelyn,
a lovely one.
beautiful.
And then the mother of the bride.
Of course.
Stands sitting right beside it.
And something that you had mentioned too, Evelyn, is that a lot of grandmothers are coming here with their granddaughters, because this is a little girl's dream. I mean, what little girl doesn't want to put on a fabulous hat, have a great bag, throw on some high heels and call it a day?
I have grandmothers that come and buy clothing for their grandchildren to take home with them, to play, dress up. And a trend right here in Bakersfield now are children's tea parties. Those are big business.
How fabulous and fun is this? And it's really like a peek back into history too, because a lot of these clothing items were clothes they wore.
Exactly.
When they were in their 20s and 30s.
That's one of our most common comments from customers is, I remember this, what was in my grandmother's house. It reminds me of my grandma.
Very nostalgic.
It is, yes.
Well, Evelyn, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. It's been my pleasure.
This is just fantastic. I'm excited. So I think maybe I'll put together a few more pieces and put on a fashion show myself.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jillian.
Well, Linda, I have to tell you, I have had such a great time here today. We have been antiquing, and I've been learning about it. And I have to tell you, the thing that amazes me the most is that each piece seems to tell its own story. I mean, I can't really think of a better history lesson. People who are in that generation of between 20 and 35, I think, are really starting to see that there's amazing furniture. And why don't you tell me just a little bit real quick about some of the trends that you're seeing from a younger generation carrying on the tradition?
One of the things, and it's just kind of coming to Bakersfield, is called Mid-Century Moderns. 1950s furniture and collectible items have become very popular with younger people. A fact we're glad for, because it brings in a whole new generation of antiquing people. Another thing is the vintage clothing, formal time, prom time. We see a lot of young women bringing mom in, and they're reminiscing while they're trying to find a dress for the prom, handbags to go with.
You know, tell me, if anyone would like to come down to the store, what's the best place that they could reach you at? What's the phone number?
The Antique Mall number is 323-8048, and we're open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and on Sunday we're open 12 to 5. The lunch counter is open Tuesday through Saturday, and she's open 10:30 to 3:30.
Well, it's been great chatting with you, Linda, but I have to tell you, I'm really ready to get shopping again. So I'm going to get back out there, and then I'm going to grab some lunch at the luncheonette. So I'll catch up with you later, and thanks again.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. We're here today in beautiful Arroyo Grande, and I'm with Kathy Harris, who is the owner of Aardvark Antiques and a business associate for Village Antique Mark. How are you, Kathy?
Hi, Jillian.
It's great to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So today I'm excited because we're going to be going antiquing, and I have to tell you, I've never done this before, but I believe that you're an expert in the field.
We'll see.
And so tell me a little bit about, what does that mean? I think that this is something that's becoming more and more popular, especially along the west coast of California. So tell me a little bit about what is antiquing, and then what are you going to teach us today?
Now we're going to find collectibles, things that could have been made anywhere from, well, let's say 1970 is about the break-off point. If it was made before 1970, it's apt to be a collectible. Things that are no longer made become collectible. Downstairs in the Aardvark Antiques, you're going to find more furniture items and decorative items, things to put in your home. Come here to buy your dining set or your armoire or your sofa.
So we're going to take a peek back into history.
Absolutely.
And so you're going to kind of teach us maybe a little bit about the do's and the don'ts of antiquing,
All right.
maybe how to spot an antique, and how the folks at home can go antiquing themselves.
Sure.
So I'm excited. Let's get going.
All right.
Okay, Kathy, so let's get started. Tell me a little bit about what we're looking at, and then let's just go over each item and tell me what makes it unique enough that it qualifies, first of all, as an antique, and then what is it that we need to be looking for when we're rummaging through item after item?
All right, well, let's just highlight a few pieces here. Starting on top of this case, it's a good example of several eras of collectible items. These are called lusters. They were very popular in the Victorian era, setting on mantelpieces. This is a Royal Dalton. This is an English company making ceramics in the early 20th century. They're all very identifiable now. These are labeled, they're given their names, they have registration numbers, and they can be looked up in reference books for a price guide value. So Royal Dalton made a lot of figurines, a lot of china pieces, animals, dolls, mugs. You might be familiar with the tankards and the mug set. This is a beautiful example of a 19th century music box. Probably dates about 1880. It's what they call the cylinder type. There's a comb here with little teeth on it that connect with protruding things that play the music. So we can get it to play here. And there can be up to, 12 tunes on this one cylinder. As it's shifted over, one brass cylinder, so you never change the cylinder. This predates the later plastic or wax cylinders.
Okay, Kathy, so for all the men,
Yes.
we want them to know that there's plenty of room in the world of antiquing
Right.
for manly men stuff.
Yes, manly
okay.
man. This
so
is a manly man piece.
Tell
right?
me a little bit about what are we seeing here?
Oh, well, starting with the pocket knives. Now,
Every
those-
man loves a good pocket knife.
Everybody, forever, and they've been around forever, and every man has always needed a pocket knife in his pocket. And look, there's a ViewMaster.
Oh my gosh, Kathy, I remember when I was little and you click the button and the picture would go around.
Yep.
Okay, well that doesn't make me antique.
People buy things because they enjoy them. Here's some old clay chips from a casino, gambling chips. And ladies, these are so decorative. You want to hang a fishing pole on your wall when it looks like this split bamboo rod.
So why don't we head downstairs and
Yes.
take a peek at some of the wonderful furniture and pieces that you
All
have.
right, let's go.
Okay, Kathy, so now we're downstairs in the Aardvark Antiques, which
Right.
belongs to you.
Yep.
And we are looking at these magnificent chairs. So tell me a little bit about the history and what makes them so special.
Absolutely. We have a set of 6 in walnut and a beautiful patina. They were made in the late 1700s. Behind us, this is an example of an original finish, but a lovely waxed patina on this mid-1800s armoire. This is from the Normandy area, northern France. It is a beautiful piece that could go anywhere in the house.
It really is beautiful. And I see a lot of people actually using these in their living rooms.
Television, right.
I mean, you wouldn't think of it, but now it's almost like it's the norm.
It's the
You know,
norm.
that you can take something, and you had made a good point earlier, Kathy, about these types of armoires. The quality with which they were made is superior. And so this is a piece that's going to last for generations.
Right. This is solid walnut. It's all pegged construction. It's a beautiful piece of furniture. They are so versatile. You can move this piece from the living room, the dining room, the bedroom. You know, use it for any purposes.
Okay, Kathy, now I know that I was playing with this a little bit earlier, and I have to tell you, I was a little surprised when you told me what it was. So let's start with this particular piece, and then let's just take our time and do a little bit of an overview. Okay. So tell me, what exactly is this?
Well, this would be sitting on the floor beside a chair, my lady's chair, I think. It's a double collectible. First of all, let me tell you that it was carved, hand carved, of course, in the Black Forest. Now, the Black Forest in Germany, Austria, and Belgium, all through the 1800s and early 20th century, very collectible carvings of neat stuff. Practical stuff. This is very practical.
Okay.
Because in the 1800s, ladies did dip, snuff, and chew tobacco. Very discreetly,
But
I'm
they
sure.
wanted to do it politely, didn't they?
They did. It was before Wrigley. So we think it's a ladies because it has petty point here. And here's how it works. Unfortunately, we're missing the lining, which would have been a brass pan that could be moved in and out. But here's how you do it. Reach, just open it
And
up
just
and right into it. There you are. So, and cover it up, of course, because we want it to look.
You want to be polite, okay?
Exactly.
And respectable. Well, Kathy Harris, it's been so great to be with you today and to go through Village Antique Mart and Aardvark Antiques. You know, this is truly incredible. I have to tell you that I want to encourage anyone who's ever thought about antiquing to just try it. You know, I think it's one of those things people might be maybe either a little skeptical or maybe they're a little nervous, like you said, with preconceived notions. This is the perfect way to spend a great day out with the family, learn a little bit of history, and find something special. Well, Kathy, I've had such a great time. Thank you again for taking the time to show us around. And tell us, if anyone is going to be in the Arroyo Grande area and would like to come and visit you and see all of these magnificent pieces, what is the best way to contact you?
Well, you can call us at area code 805-473-3584. And I remind you again, we're just a block off of Highway 101. The village of Arroyo Grande is a delightful place to spend the day. We've got a wonderful swinging bridge, and we've got roosters in the parking lot, and great places to eat, and 3 antique smalls actually, so we've barely even scratched the surface here. There's a wonderful, wonderful way to spend the day for everybody.
Well, good. At least something to the imagination, and all of the future antiquers need to come out and just try it for themselves. It's the perfect place for the whole family.
It is.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Jillian. It's been a pleasure.